Amorphous section.
Here we go.
Let's
3,
do
2,
it.
1. Welcome to the David the Dog Trainer podcast. Blah 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 blah. Episode what
220.
220 episodes in. Let's go. We got Dave back again.
220.
Now officially the longest standing guest, which is I think this is episode 3 or 4 that we've done with Dave.
Yeah.
And I think we need to start making it a bit of just like this reoccurring thing that we do once or twice a year because
Probably.
just like every now and then, like I texted you and it's just like there's so much like bullshit going on right now in the dog world, and I like to just like vent about it sometimes. And we started doing it on the last episode a little bit, which we'll touch on because we started complaining about a couple things, one of them being the reverse perception. And actually, I'm interested to get into that one because I will be honest, as we were talking through it, I'm talking through it out loud on the podcast, and I feel like I steelman, strawmanned it pretty well, where I could see both perspectives of it pretty well. So I'm curious your take on that, obviously. But first thing, because we got to get through some of the non-dog training related stuff first, did you watch Islam versus Jack Della Maddalena?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Give me your thoughts.
Octopus guard doesn't work. As a jiu-jitsu black belt who studies Craig Jones's game, I like to use octopus guard a lot.
Yeah.
And
Islam
wow,
just destroyed
that was
it. He just destroyed it.
Yep.
Right?
Cross-faced the fuck out of him.
It was crazy. The only thing that I feel like Craig Jones may have helped JDM with was the Darce defense. Like there were some videos where you could see that he clearly knew what he was doing when Islam got him in that Darce. And that was cool. But total domination. I'm an enormous Islam fan, so I was pretty stoked on that.
Me too. It was cool. It was a good match.
So yeah.
And like it's so funny because every private lesson I've ever taken as a jiu-jitsu athlete over the course of the last 14 years I've been doing it, I ask everybody the same question, and it is, how do you get out of a Darce choke? And every single person, including world champions, have said, don't get there.
Don't get there.
That's the answer. Don't get there. And I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next year as far as a lot of the divisions. Because then, did you watch Saruki and Hooker at all?
I did not see that.
Okay, dude. Arman absolutely. I mean, he looked the best I've ever seen him look, like ever. Like where you get back to like if that fight with him and Islam actually went through before he got like injured, like that would have been a sick fight to see because he just rolled through Dan Hooker. And Dan Hooker, obviously, we knew he wasn't going to do that great in it, but
yeah,
nonetheless,
he's not prepared for that kind of wrestling and that grappling.
Yeah,
that is real pressure that you are not. If you are not prepared for that, ugh,
hell yeah,
you get melted.
Yeah.
Oh.
One of these days, I've talked so many times before about how I was going to get into something like that. Like I've never done any type of sport like that, if you will. One of these days I'll do it. I don't know. We'll see.
So my friend actually just moved to Cleveland, and he's training with Emil Fisher, who is Stipe's. He was training at
is he going to
Stipe's
Strong
gym.
Style?
Yeah.
Yeah, Strong Style I know is like the place for like all of the combat sport places. I think Stipe is now like a part owner of it since they moved it, and it's pretty close to his house now. And I think he's like a part owner of the place now. But yeah, I've heard good things about it. It's like right around the corner from my parents' house, so that could be convenient. But my problem, anytime I've ever joined like a gym or anything, is like anything longer than like a 10 to 15 minute drive becomes extremely inconvenient to like tack into my day. And this place is like 25 minutes or so away. Ugh, that's an extra hour every time I go there. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's just me being
I know.
lazy.
My gym is 10 minutes away. I love it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, what's new in the dog world with you, Dave? How's everything going?
I'm still waiting for that facility to be built.
Yeah.
Still working on that. That has been, yeah, dude. I got to go stand in some empty walls the other day,
there you
like
go.
a month ago.
That's pretty cool.
They're like, if you close your eyes, you
Yeah.
can visualize what you might have one day.
Yeah, basically. He's like, these are the walls. I was like,
yeah.
sweet concrete walls. Hell
Love
yeah,
some
bro.
walls.
Just working. It's been, since you texted me, the week has been nothing. Like I've heard some of the silliest shit I've ever heard in my life come from people's mouths. That's been fucking something. And then I got another puppy.
Did you?
So
What kind?
Yeah.
Another Malinois?
I got another Malinois.
I'm
yeah.
in the market for a Malinois right now. Todd, you know Todd, obviously. Have you ever actually interacted with him before, Todd?
Oh, ton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know. So Todd, I reached out to him like a month and a half ago or so, like looking for another Malinois puppy. And basically he gave me the most Todd answer, which is, yeah, I don't have any right now, but just keep checking back in over the next month or so, and I'll have one eventually. And I was like, okay, cool. So now I have literally an auto reminder every week and a half in my phone to just send him a text and say, got anything yet? And he just says, nope, but soon. And then I send it again, nope, but soon. So I don't know when I'll get a puppy, but at some point I will be getting a Malinois puppy.
Yeah. He's going to go to one of the areas in the field where there's tires. He's going to reach in. Something's going to grab him. He's going to reach out, and boom, there's a Malinois puppy.
Oh, there's David's Malinois puppy.
Yep, I'm convinced that's how Todd gets those puppies.
Yeah, dude. They just appear and yeah. So that's cool. How's life with the new Malinois puppy?
It's good. She's from Lucin again, from Stephanie.
Yeah.
She's a hell of a lot more than my other Malinois. It's been night and day. She is, you can't probably see very well, but my hand's torn to shreds because,
Yeah.
Malinois. But she's been great. My only thing with puppies is like, if you could learn how to settle in a crate quickly, I could deal with the rest of it. And since day one, we're talking 7 hours straight through the night. Just like, oh, thank God.
Dude, that's so huge. I remember when I was like watching puppies for Todd for a while. And I had two in particular. One was this female dog that, dude, I wanted to keep her so bad. She was the best dog ever. Same deal, like right away, slept through the night, effortless to housebreak, extremely social, really good drives out of the box and stuff. But Todd, because she was such a good female, he wanted to co-own her, and I wasn't interested in that, obviously. So she wound up going somewhere else. I think she got titled up to, I think she got her Mondio 3 on her. She wound up being an awesome dog. Then I had this other one that was like the complete opposite, like completely antisocial. Like it took him like 2 months before he started developing any type of like real tug drive or anything to him. He pissed in his crate every time I would put him in the freaking crate. Like no matter how many times you let him outside, like he was like not good with the other dogs and stuff. Like it couldn't have been a worse experience. And that dog actually went on to go to somebody else. And I think got titled through Mondio 2. But like he got passed around a lot after that because like he was never like fully owned by anybody. And I know that dog had some like real sketchy, like dangerous tendencies. like,
yeah. So. And that's the thing with Malinois. They are either like, and at least in my experience, they're either like super, super social or it's like, I'm probably going to kill somebody eventually.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So we'll see what we get this time,
Yeah.
Oh, so why did you get another one? Are you looking to like do something with it, or you just want another one, or?
My old man is he's up there now.
How old?
I've been feeling he's 12 going on 13.
Yeah.
And his back legs are kind of, not doing real good and getting real sad about it. So I was like, I need to fill my life with that sort of thing.
Dude, same thing. So Vera passed away like a month and a half ago.
Oh, man.
Right? So like
sorry.
I was in the same boat where I was like, okay, well, like I guess I get a Malinois because I need something to challenge myself now again. Right?
Yep. I need to fill all of my time.
Yes.
So I stop being sad.
Yeah, 100%. So I also feel like I am on this like slight mission. I'm curious to get your take on this. I'm on this slight mission right now where I feel like the entire world likes to act like owning a Malinois, if you're not planning on doing like sports stuff, is like the hardest thing in the world and it's like impossible and stuff. And I'm just like on a mission to kind of prove all of those people wrong as well, that you could still like provide awesome outlets for these dogs and like obviously not be an idiot, right? You got to be like a higher level knowledge from a training standpoint, but like you're not going to like give this dog a shitty, terrible life if you like don't compete in like ring sport with the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And that's like Malinois are not for everybody. They're not. And you know that, and it's just, I mean, I have one. There's literally one sitting right over there. Ma'am, couche. Yeah, was laying down over there. I don't compete with
you
her.
Like his
she
French?
Doesn't have
Did you hear
drive.
that French accent right there? Right.
Yeah, you become French when you get a Malinois too, but you absolutely can. She goes hiking. We go. She does bite stuff. She bites sleeves. She bites pants. She has a blast.
Yeah.
But I don't compete with her because she's not. She's too sensitive to do it. But like, she can absolutely party. I can go to a cafe with her, put her in a down. Sometimes I make her guard the table too, so no one steals my table.
Yeah, there you go.
And Yeah, like she has a foundation and stuff. So I just, I go in, get my coffee. I say, "Okie guard," and then people are like, "Oh, she's so cute." Then she's like, circling the table, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, she's gonna bite me." I'm like, "Oh yeah, don't
She's
touch
being
her."
a shark currently. Yeah.
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 But yeah, it's absolutely. But it's the things, and like I'm sure we'll get into this, but on TikTok especially, there's lots of people who have Malinois, and you see them, and you're like, what the fuck is that dog? Number one, but like, what the fuck are you doing with that dog?
Are you talking about the viral video of the puppy Malinois in the car of the guy like petting it and it's like like growling out the car at people? Do you know which one I'm talking about by chance?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's that one, and I think that individual posts a lot of stories or TikToks, whatever the fuck they call them, on this Malinois just acting like unnecessarily aggressive towards random things. So yes,
Yeah,
I agree with you completely.
Yeah. And
Yeah, it's that.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's funny you say that because we literally, I think the last podcast we were looking at e-collar technologies. They just like accept anybody's.
That was going to be one of my things to bring up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that at all.
And so we watched one, and anytime that happens, and then he starts with, you know what really grinds my gears? I'm like, Dave's going to be on the podcast next week. I just know it because every time he gets like heated, he's like, we got to get him on here and we got to bitch.
Yeah, so I want to start off and get into my first thing. That'll just take a half a second because you already brought it up. Of one of the things that like drives me crazy in the dog world is when I see people that do protection sports and they train their dog in French. And I'm so happy when you told your dog couché, you just said couché in the most like American accent possible. But there is nothing worse when you see these like white ass motherfuckers that like are like couché, zebu, asi, right? Like, and they say it in the most like absurd possible fucking accents ever. And I'm just sitting there the whole time like, do you realize how dumb you sound when you're doing this?
Like they said, the people are usually. I'm just gonna pick a southern state. We'll say Florida.
Yeah,
No offense to people from Florida. Okay, they're from Florida, but when they start trying to speak French, they sound like they're from like fucking deep in Philly or Delaware. You know what? That's like, how do you make that sound come out of your body?
like saliva spitting out of their mouth as they're like screaming it in like this horrendous accent.
It must be the southern coming into it, and they're trying to make it French. I don't know.
You go from Florida to Philly real fast.
Yeah.
Couché.
Yeah, right. So that's thing number one.
Couché.
Couché.
For me.
Now we're Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's thing number one. But I think before I interrupted you with that, and before Josh interrupted you, you were about to say something else, but I don't remember what it was.
You're probably going to say something cool, and I said something stupid.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll probably say something stupid. I'll say it again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It'll come back.
For sure. What Josh was referring to though, so have you noticed on like e-collar technologies page how they just like collaborate on Instagram with anybody that tries to do it with them?
So I'm no longer allowed to see e-collars technologies pages.
Did they block you?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, they blocked me,
That's
and
so
then
funny.
oh, there's a whole story here now too. So this is breaking news.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure you saw the post, right?
Yes, I don't remember exactly what it was. So you do dog train now, right? You're team dog train?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fill
team
me in
dog
because I don't
Yeah,
remember.
fill in the audience.
Okay, so Greg at one point, I don't know if you're friends with Greg on Facebook.
No.
But
Maybe. I don't know. I don't use Facebook really.
yeah, neither do I. It's because I have a business, so I have it. And he posts some of the most insane shit and racist shit you've ever seen in your life.
He said some like what, kill the Muslims or some shit like that post.
Yeah, he was
something like that.
He was like, Muslims are bankrupting our country.
That's the one. I remember that. Yeah.
And he posted a picture, and the graphic is from like fucking 4chan. It has like a silhouette of a wizard in the background. Like, dude, what the fuck are you like? This is your evidence, right?
Yeah.
So a quick Google search on the government website prior to the government website deleting everything. The majority of people on SNAP benefits are Caucasian.
Yeah.
Okay. And like he posted this thing, and like a lot of trainers I really respect used e-collar tech, like Emily Stoddard from Chicago. She's one of the best trainers I've ever met. She's such a cool woman.
Yeah.
She was like, hey Greg, this is disgusting, but I wouldn't expect anything less from you. And it's like, yeah, because he just does this shit all the time. So I just was like, man, I'm fucking sick of this dude's nonsense. I'm gonna call him out on it.
Yeah.
I posted this video on TikTok. It got
remember
like
seeing this
50,000
video.
views.
Yeah.
like hundreds and hundreds of comments and reposts, whatever. And then like I tagged him again on Instagram. I was like, hey man, like what's the deal with this? How are you gonna just say shit like that? Then they delete the post on Facebook. I
Yeah.
screenshot it, like, bro, it's 2025. Like, get the
Right.
fuck out of here. You can't post shit like that.
It doesn't
But,
just
like,
go away anymore.
Yeah.
yeah. And like as the owner of a business, you have to be relatively careful what you put online on your
Right.
personal
Yes,
page.
Yes.
You can't just say ridiculous shit like that and expect zero consequences.
Yeah.
So I posted that and everyone was like, wow, that's fucking gross. And I was like, yeah, it's stupid. I was like, I'm sick of this dude anyway. Whatever. And then Dogtra reached out to me. Like, I did not go to Dogtra. I did not be like, hey, Dogtra, e-collar tech sucks. He's blah, blah, blah. Dogtra reached out to me and they were like, holy shit, why would you post that? And I was like, I don't know. And then they're like, hey, do you need you're probably not allowed to buy e-collar tech anymore. I was like, turns out I'm not. So I was already a Dogtra dealer anyway, but then they were like, do you want like a partnership program where like if you refer people, we'll just give you a little discount? I was like, dude, fuck yeah. So then I think I switched like 20 or 30 other trainers from all.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Just when things are getting juicy.
Right.
Give them a minute.
Yeah, we'll give him a second.
What an absolute bummer. Oh no, I accidentally hit that. That wasn't what I was supposed to do.
Everybody.
Yo,
there he
your
is.
internet
Oh,
went out.
there we go.
All right,
there
we're
we
back.
go.
Yeah, so you said you switched 20, 30 trainers over to Dogtra.
Yeah, I switched trainers over to Dogtra. And then a trainer reached out to me and was like, hey, is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, why? What's up? They're like, well, I was just at IACP and Greg said that he's going to court with you over I was like, what? I was like, dude, no, I'm not. He's like, yeah, he said it's being taken care of in court and they're suing you for slander. And I was like, you can't fucking sue me for slander if what you said is factual and it's on the internet.
Yeah.
You
Like-
literally said that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was like, no, that's good.
Dude.
I'm not being sued for slander because it's not slander when you actually say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So give me your take on Dogtra collar since you started using that. Give me the true, honest, unrelated to e-collar tech's owners bullshits like pros and cons between the two of them.
The collars that they come with suck.
The actual
generic-
collar, you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the generic collars
they're
that they come with
trash.
suck.
Yes.
Yeah, they're bad collars. They're trashy. They don't feel good. They don't adjust well.
Yeah.
I don't like those.
Yes.
The remote, I like the remote a hell of a lot better now.
What do you
now
like
that I'm
better
used to
about it?
It has one giant button.
Yeah.
That like, and you know, like an e-collar tech button, there's two buttons. It's not hard to use, but people still get it confused.
Yes.
So with this, there's literally one giant button on the front, and you can boom use that.
Which collar are you using predominantly?
To the 280X and the Arc X.
Okay. Yeah. I like the Arc.
Yeah,
but
so-
isn't the Arc, I don't know about the Arc X, I don't know if there's a difference, but I thought it was like two on the front that were vibration for two dogs and two on the side that's stim for two dogs.
Yeah, they're totally new remote. So the Arc X and the 280X are now the same remote,
Really?
which I really like
Yeah,
because of that one giant button. It's got a page and a
Sure.
tone on the side.
Uh-huh.
Level, very bright LED screen that you could see. The stimulation is very different, which was interesting at first because I noticed a lot of dogs were working higher in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel it on my hand until like a 30, and the e-collar tech's like a 15.
Yeah.
But I found that if I have to raise levels, I get a much better response out of the Dogtra than I did the e-collar tech.
Yeah.
You get a lot less when you're ramping or if you're like increasing levels too, you get a lot less of that like dog shut down kind of like what's happening type of deal, and you get more of an actual like, oh shit, that's on. I gotta go.
Yeah. What do you like if you felt both of them in your hand? Like what feels different about them?
The e-collar tech feels, what's a good word for it? Sharper.
Yes.
It
okay.
actually,
I was gonna say the
Yeah.
Dogtra one I always felt a little blunter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like feels more like this physical pressure pushing at you. The e-collar one is a little more pinchy, is the word that I used to kind of say.
yeah. And that's what I really like when I'm starting dogs on that low level too,
Yeah.
right? Because they're like Like it's very perceivable pressure and it's very unique. So I've
Yeah.
noticed a lot of dogs doing really, really well with it. I haven't had to either like, sometimes if you get a Rottie or something, you got to get the boss
Yeah.
because the Rotties just don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't had to switch collars, but it
Isn't
has,
the arc, I think, is a little higher powered than the mini though? Is that correct?
yep,
You know?
it's a
Okay.
little bit.
Yeah.
And it does what I really like too is when you're using it for multiple dogs, because I have multiple dogs,
Yes.
there's just a straight up little switch on the front of it
Yep.
that's got 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And that is like that is the best.
Yeah. I think my biggest complaints with e-collar. Well, let me ask you this: is there anything you liked better about the e-collar tech collars? The collar itself,
Yeah,
obviously, I know you said, but
they cost me less money.
yes, yeah, dog training at a higher price point. Yeah, I always felt like dog trick collars felt like they were built more solid. Like e-collar tech collars feel a little cheaper made.
Yeah.
I think that I like. I guess we don't use a ton of dog trick collars. I will say that my biggest complaint with the e-collar tech collars has less to do with the single dog systems and more to do with the multi-dog systems, as I think you were pointing out, where people get so fucking confused by the like 1D, 2D flashing on the screen and like how like really all it means is like when you hit the last button, it's either the first dog or the second dog. People think they like accidentally turn their collar back into a single dog unit and stuff. And like the adjusting if you accidentally lock in a level, it's like a pain in the ass to unlock it. So I like that the doctors, I don't even think have the option to lock in a level with the multi-dog systems, which is super cool. Yeah, I think those have generally been my biggest complaints with it. I do think, as you were alluding to, like the button configuration on the Mini Educator, for some people, just the fact that there are 3 almost identical buttons on the side of the remote just confuses everybody. Where, yeah, if you tell them like it's literally just this one on the front, and especially if it's like clearly labeled or something, I do think that is way easier as well. But the price has really been the biggest complaint that I've had. And then I used to always say the customer service, but eCollar Tech's customer service has kind of started getting a lot shittier lately. Like they're way more stingy about what they replace. They're way more stingy about what they cover as far as their warranty is concerned. But I still feel like Dogtra's is just not quite as reliable as it could be. Like I had a client just the other day I was working with that had a Dogtra unit that was like 6 months old, something like that. And I think it was an ARC, if I'm not mistaken. And they reached out to them and they wanted to have her mail the unit back so they can repair it and then send it back to her. And it had been like 2 months of her trying to get back and forth with them on like getting like a return label and all this kind of stuff. And she had a really hard time getting in touch with them about getting that done. So she actually wound up switching to eCollar Tech for that exact reason. But I don't know. I think the biggest thing is, as you said, like as business owners, we just have to be so mindful of like, why would you post stuff? I just don't get why people would, like, whether you believe it or not, or think it's right or wrong or anything like that. Some people are getting too comfortable just kind of being like assholes on the internet, if you will, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's, and like, I will, if I say it, if you see a video of me saying it, I said it and I will back it up. But I'm not going to put shit on the internet and be like, oh yeah, this is something blatantly terrible that I feel.
Yeah.
Please give me your money so I can train your dog. Like,
Yeah.
like,
yeah, I don't know, man. Like I understand like you can't like lie about who you are, obviously, but like just like political differences and stuff like that, it's just like, why do you need to post it on the internet? I don't understand that. And then the other one, have you been, I think I brought him up last time on the pod before he started becoming really popular, but are you hip to that Dylan Jones day-to-day dog training in Syracuse? He's Ivan's like protege right now and stuff.
Yeah.
Are you how hip are you to like his whole thing these days?
Here and there, it comes up on I check everything out. I try to stay up to date. I try to evolve, right, with the times and see like who's coming up and all that stuff. Because like I was thinking about this, like, man, I've been doing this for over a decade, and like when people are like, oh, this new trainer, he's been working with Ivan. Have you ever heard of him? I'm like, brother, I was like having dinner with Ivan 12 years ago when everyone was being like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I've noticed that, like, a lot of people who go to that, who do the training with conflict school, like, they got a fucking stick up their ass
Bro,
about.
this was literally going to be. I love that we're just like on the same page with a lot of this stuff, because like one of my next points that I had that I've just been like thinking like crazy on is like the ego on some of these like TWC trainers that are coming out, and not just the TWC ones, but also the fucking Bart Malone like graduates and stuff, is actually getting out of control these days. And
It's ridiculous.
And it's so tough because, like, I've said many a time on this podcast over the last probably 12 months, like, that Dylan dude has really, he's opened up some ideas to me that I hadn't played with a lot before. And I think that, like, just through some of the stuff he's posted, like, I've definitely evolved my approach over the last year a little bit, right? And I definitely give him his props. I really, really appreciate like what he's doing. I think he seems very, very talented. Like I said, I've taken influence from him. He obviously learned from Ivan, and, he has a good knowledge behind him and all this kind of stuff. But holy moly, the ego on this dude is, it's actually insane. It's actually insane.
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard from like him or other people, like the statement of like, there's not a single dog trainer in the world that posts the rehab videos that I post and gets the results that I get and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's just like, and then on top of that, so the reason why I bring it up, like, tie this into the Greg stuff with eCollar Tech, he has been on this like roll over the last like 4 or 5 months or so of just like absolutely going out of his way to just like shit on anybody that disagrees with him, predominantly force-free folk, but like, nonetheless, like the things he's posting and saying are like so unhinged. It's like, it's ridiculous. Like, he posted a screenshot the other day that started going a little bit viral too, because people have been like encouraging this behavior, if you will. Like, he does podcasts where he talks about how he doesn't give a fuck about what anybody thinks, and he thinks that everybody should be bullying everybody and this and that. And like, some of the times it's funny, don't get me wrong, but like, he posted this screenshot where there was somebody that was like talking shit on him, I guess, force-free trainer, saying he wasn't going to like rehab the dog he was working with. And Dylan went out of his way to send him a video of the rehab process with the dog, which, whatever, that's funny, I think, right? Hey, you said this wasn't going to work. Here's the proof it worked. The person replied back like, oh, well, whatever. The typical force-free bullshit of like, you probably created more issues later on and this and that, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And Dylan responded to that with, kill yourself, faggot.
Whoa.
Right now, please, somebody's going to screenshot that and like, take it out of context and post it somewhere,
now.
right? Like, I think it's appropriate that I say that word out loud because of how insane of a thing that is to say.
Wild.
And then on
wild.
top of that, he screenshotted the fact that he sent that to the person and posted it on his stories like, lols, another force-free loser that needs to be bullied or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus fucking dude. What the fuck?
That's, yeah.
Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what do you think you're doing? Like, why
suicide.
It's like, why do you have to do this? Like, you're posting such good content, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're training dogs great. You're doing a really good thing for the dog world. You are directly, like, everything that you post and say is like, yo, I'm TWC graduate, and like, like, I'm so proud of it. And like, he wears his TWC shirt in all his videos, and he's always like accrediting my mentor Ivan and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Like, he really tightly aligns himself with the TWC world. And then you're just like posting this absolutely insane stuff. Right? Like, absolutely insane stuff like that. And it's like, that just happened, I think, last week. Like, and that was the first time I started seeing, like, people that I know, people in my circle that are dog trainers that were, like, posting about it, like, yo, like, this is actually, like, not cool that this dude is, like, doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm curious to see, he every time this stuff has happened before, he always, like, goes out of his way to be like, yeah, you guys just don't get it, right? Like, these people are the worst kind of people. Like, the things they say about us are like the worst things ever, so they deserve this and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm curious to see if he actually like backs off on this a little bit now, or if he doesn't. Like, at what point does somebody like Ivan draw the line and say like, yo, like, this isn't representing my training program, right? In my dog training school, like, in a positive way, right? Like at what point does he have to be like, you know what, this is actually not okay,
Like,
right?
we might have to distance ourselves from that,
Yeah.
and like it's so funny because I tell my employees like, hey, if you're wearing an Art of Dog hoodie and you're out in public training a dog,
Yeah.
like make sure you're very, very conscious of what you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
don't correct a dog too hard. Like you need to like
Yeah.
really be paying attention to what you're doing. Because, when I worked at Canine Connection with
Yeah.
Tyler, we would have people just come in and be like, that I watched that guy kick a dog, and I'm like, what are you talking?
Yeah.
Like this, like
Yeah.
insane type of shit. And it's like, man, that's professional suicide.
Yeah, I wear my Art of Dog shirt out, especially when I'm working with the really, really aggressive dogs where I'm needing to like helicopter spin them
Dog
into
daddy 'em.
brick walls
Yeah,
and stuff,
dog daddy.
you know? So like that's the only reason why I keep that shirt still is so that I can do that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. But yeah,
mean,
no, I don't know,
that's-
man. It's crazy. Like that blew my mind the other day when he posted that. And then like yeah, like I don't know. It's just crazy. Like it took me aback.
Yeah.
Like I'm not one that's sensitive to most things. Like people can post some pretty unhinged things and I'm just like, whatever, you're an idiot, you know? But like,
Yeah.
there was a moment where I was just like, again, to myself, because this is somebody that I don't want to use the words looked up to, right? But this is somebody I've really been following and like appreciating what they're doing, right? And I was just like, bro, like that just like makes you look like a piece of shit. Like, you know, like it's somebody that just like
You're
doesn't
not-
care.
Yeah.
Like you're not in control of your emotions if you're responding to someone and posting that.
Yeah.
So like that is unhinged. You're unwell, brother. And
Yeah.
like, hey man, like I've been really like I subscribe to Shane Murray's community. Like they do like he does, Shane Murray, right?
The tattooed dude. Is that the tattooed
he's got
bro?
a neck tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, tattoo bro.
Yeah.
He's got some really cool shit. He had some really like he posted a video of he had his mal at the vet and like it was getting really frustrated, so he was using a bite sleeve to let the dog fucking pop off.
Yeah, sure.
After the vet handled him, he was just letting the dog nail a leg sleeve, and people were losing their minds. And he was like, hey, that's fine that you think that. You're wrong. This is why you're wrong.
Yeah.
And then he just went out and showed, and like I was like, that is an appropriate response.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I can respect that because you're being creative. You're finding a solution to a problem. You're being creative about it. Anything you post online, you're gonna get attacked regardless. But he took the time to respond, and then after that, it was it. It was in the comments. He responded to that one comment, and that was it. And I was like, that's respectable.
It is.
And he's doing some cool things, and I can learn stuff from that, right? I'll hop in the comments and say things like, take a long walk off a short pier, which I think is funny because that's shit my grandpa used to say.
Yeah. I think there's a line. You know what I mean? Like there's a line of like, yeah, like somebody is like giving you some shit, so like you can give them a little shit back. Like I get it, right?
Yeah.
But like there's just like I feel like an obvious line of like where it like stops, where you're like, okay, well maybe I don't escalate this further. Maybe I just like throw the quick little like funny jab back and then like go on my way. But if you play this constant trying to like one up each other game with like the things that you're saying, it's like it will just continue stacking until it gets completely out of control. So yeah.
And you wind up with that, which is
Yeah, him saying that like it's 1999 still, like
Bro, like literally, like
Yeah,
that's what
right.
kids that I went to like middle school, like I feel like said like before they realized like just how like like real some of that stuff actually is. Like,
and then he turned on Limp Bizkit, opened a Monster Energy
Right.
drink, and fucking went about his day.
yeah, for sure.
I would like to say that sometimes the monster can, he gets it up here and then it disappears.
It's invisible. Yeah.
So then
yeah.
you're just like you're
this.
just doing this. You're like,
Yeah. Love
see,
it.
now I won't do it, but
Yeah, there it is. It's gone. There it is. Perfect.
That's just how I am. I just have a pinky out all the
Pinky
time.
out.
you look
Pinky
like a
out.
magician, honestly. Like, poof, monster.
All right. So you said you saw a million ridiculous things over the last week. Hit me with one of your recent pet peeves.
Okay. This was a phone call I got.
Oh boy.
Okay. So, hey, my dog is going to the bathroom inside my house all the time, pissing, shitting in my house. Do you guys do potty training? It's not my response. Hey, yeah, like, so potty training is not really just a specific thing we offer. That would be covered more in one of our board and train courses where we would keep your dog for 3 to 4 weeks, create rule structure. So potty training really comes down to making sure your dog has ample opportunities to go to the bathroom outside. And then I was like, hey, like, are you using pee pads in the house? She's like, yeah, my house is surrounded with pee pads. I've got pee pads in the crates. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm a strong believer that if you're allowing your dog to practice urinating and defecating inside, that your dog's going to be pretty comfortable with it. Personally, I don't want my dogs to do that, so I make sure that when I'm potty training my puppy, I'm letting my puppy out all the time. Like, anytime she eats, she drinks, we're outside. She does something. We play around in the house for 10 minutes, we go outside, right? We get lots of practice going outside. So dogs like a year old, like, shouldn't be doing this at this point.
Yeah.
Had the dog since it was a puppy, trained it to piss and shit inside, so it's pissing and shitting inside, right? Whatever. And she was just like, I was like, yeah, what you're going to want to do is, like, put your dog on a leash, go outside, and stand there until your dog goes to the bathroom outside. She's like, well, I do that, and she won't go out. She just won't go outside. I'm like, okay, well, how long are you standing out there? She's like, I don't know, like 2 minutes. It's like, okay, like, you're going to want to give your dog a little bit longer. And she goes, yeah, but it's cold out. I understand that it's cold out. You can put a jacket and a hat on and gloves and then stand there for, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I'd start there. And then if your dog doesn't go to the bathroom outside, it goes in the crate for 5 minutes and then bring it right back outside. Well, it's really inhumane to put my dog in a crate. It's like, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. Here's what I want you to do. Take your dog outside, bundle up. It's 55 degrees outside right now in Buffalo. Bundle up if you gotta. Stand outside with your dog with a handful of treats, and when it goes to the bathroom, you're going to reward the hell out of that dog. And she goes, can I, like, tie it to my fence and just see if it'll go? I was like, what? I mean, yeah, if you want to, but, like, you still got to be out there to make sure she goes to the bathroom, and you can reward her for doing this. She's like, well, can't I just watch her from a window? It's like, I mean, I would probably recommend being outside with your dog so you can really mark that behavior and reward it. She goes, that's just, like, a lot. Can you just do it for me? Sure, I will do it for you for $5,000. That's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous that you won't stand outside for your dog to go to the bathroom. And she's like, excuse me? It's like, yeah, it's ridiculous you won't stand outside to let your dog go to the bathroom. Well, I thought you'd be more helpful. I was like, I just told you what to do for free.
Right.
That's pretty helpful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not training with you. Okay. Well, you have a good one and good luck with that potty training.
Dude.
Jesus Christ.
I am usually team, like, oh, client, like, when people complain about clients being lazy and, like, not wanting to do things and stuff, like, I am usually team, like, they're probably not actually lazy. You're probably just doing a shitty job helping them, right?
Yep, me too.
I will say the places I do see client laziness is 100% of the time housebreaking issues. I don't know what it is, man.
100%.
Like, some people just have this, like, this unrealistic expectation that puppies out of the box should either, one, just be housebroken already, or two, they learn how to be housebroken in half a second because you let them out 2 times, or three, what was number 3? Wait, I'm losing it. Hold on, I'll come up with it in a second. Oh yeah, or 3, they should come out of the box already knowing how to tell you when they need to go to the bathroom, right? It's one of those 3 things, and then, like, they just, like, they just can't get past it. I don't know what it is. Like, some people just cannot get past housebreaking issues. I don't want to say a similar call, but okay, so there was this dog that we did a board and train with when it was, like, a younger dog. It was like 6 months old or something like that. And it's like a mini Australian, I think it's like a mini Australian Shepherd mixed with a Husky or something like that. I don't know. It's a weird, like, fancy looking dog. And
Seen one, I'm sure.
And this dog was doing really good with house. It came for like basic obedience, and it was, like, eating its poop and stuff, right? And we stopped the poop eating, right? The dog was on a schedule. Dog wasn't going to the bathroom inside anymore, obviously. Dog went home. Dog was doing really good. Like, a year later, like, this dog did training with us maybe a year ago. The owner moved, and we got a text from him at, like, 10:30 p.m. or something like that. Which, first off, bro, like, It's 10:30. Like, wait till the next morning, please.
Yeah.
Like, unless your dog killed somebody, right?
Yeah.
To which, call me. That's fine, obviously. But
Yeah, agree.
But we're dealing with this is a potty training issue that he was complaining about, right? We got a text at like 10:30, basically just ranting and raving and venting about how he was so upset that the dog was still having housebreaking issues inside. So, okay, I know you're frustrated. Let's hop on the phone with him, right?
Let's
And
do
it's
this.
just one of those things. We get on the phone, right? And like he's just like, I think we had talked about this on one of the episodes. He's like, yeah, I take the dog outside to go to the bathroom, and then I come back in, and then the dog pees again. And I'm like, okay, well, take the dog out twice, right? Wait till it goes to the bathroom twice before you bring it back in, right? Or take it outside,
Big brain.
let it pee, put it in the crate for 30 minutes, then go back outside again, right? And then let it go again, and then come back in. And then, maybe just like, he's like, oh yeah, well, the dog just like pees in this same spot every time. I was like, okay, don't let the dog go to that spot, right? It'll be really easy. I promise. Don't let the dog go to that spot and just like break this pattern and don't let this keep happening. And like, we talked through it and the whole time just like, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. And 1 week later, checked in. No more housebreaking issues, right? Life was good. Like he wasn't being lazy. This is not an example of him being lazy necessarily.
Yeah.
But it's like just take the dog out. I don't know how to say it any differently, but like if the dog is going to the bathroom inside, 99% of the time, the solution will be nothing other than take the dog outside more frequently than you're currently taking the dog outside.
Yep.
Right? And most of the time, the issue will just go away. I promise.
Yeah.
I promise.
It is, dog training can be very complicated, but dog training can be very easy, right? And I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. Don't let your dog do that.
Just don't.
Just if you don't want your dog to piss on the couch, don't let it near that couch.
Yeah.
Right.
Or just
Yeah, you can do that.
again, just take it outside more so it doesn't have the pee in it to go on the couch, right? Like it's just like there's so many ways to spin this, like manage it and solve it, right? Like, yeah, don't let the dog sneak under the table that they're shitting under the table every time with, but also let the dog out more so it doesn't feel like it needs to sneak off and go under the table and shit under the table, right?
Yeah.
Your life can be so much easier, I promise.
It can be. And like I've written a schedule down for people before, like starting at 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. Like this is how you do it. And they're like, well, that's a lot of time letting my dog outside. I'm like, your dog is literally a dumb baby.
Yeah.
Like, it was born 12 weeks ago. It's a dumb baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like babies wear diapers because they don't know when they're shitting themselves.
Right.
Okay. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, man. I got one that I just saw the other day that was so everyone's trying the social media is setting yourself apart with your videos, right? That's
yourself
what people
apart.
try to do.
You're saying people are trying to post things to like stand out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, trying to stand out. Like there's a billion dog trainers.
Yeah.
We all do the same thing.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is one of the trainers was like, hey, like you should stop using a clicker and stop saying yes to your dog because those reward markers are confusing. And I was like, okay. I'm like, where's this going? I like this one. And he's like, what you're going to want to do is you have to say, trip. That's the only way your dog is going to know that you are going to give it the reward. Because yes comes up far too much in conversation. And a clicker, your dog's never going to hear it. I'm like, but what?
Clickers are pretty loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, clickers are pretty loud. He's like, well, nobody's got space for a clicker. I'm like, bro, you're wearing like a fucking Batman utility belt right now. Like, I bet you could find room for a clicker. And it's just these little things that people are really pushing forward that are, it's just like, why?
So, on that, this is similar to what we were bitching about last episode as well, which is like people will say things like that. And all it does is further highlight that you have no understanding of how classical conditioning works. I mean, that's it, right? Like, I mean, like literally, like I could I could make this the fucking reward marker. Should I carry a mug and a pen around with me everywhere? Is that going to be the magic solution for how I do it, right? This one? There you go. Reward, right? Like, I mean, it's like literally classical like it's just the way it works. Like it's just how classical conditioning fucking works. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You know.
I don't know. I kind of vote for you bringing the mug around. I think that.
Or I'll do a triangle. You know, like a musical triangle.
Yeah.
Ding, ding.
I mean, you go viral.
A fucking a ride bell like on a drum set.
Yeah.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
It's like hit it right before a breakdown. Ding, ding.
Bink.
Yeah.
That's the stuff I don't. And it's like, man, are we struggling that bad for content that we gotta like do that?
Yeah. I posted something the other day that I was talking about. The reel was specifically about how people like will come into a session and tell me the dog knows down, right? And then I say, all right, say down, and the dog doesn't down. And then they go down, and they're like bending and saying things and using their hands and this and that. And like the point that I was making is your dog doesn't know the word. They're just like following these like gestures that you're making and these like lures and stuff like that, right? And like I had like 3 people comment on it, like giving me shit like, this isn't true at all. A hand signal is a perfectly usable cue. I was like, that's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is that in order to use a visual cue or a verbal cue, you have to follow the principles of classical conditioning so the dog actually learns what that cue means, as opposed to a mesh of a bunch of fucking gazillion different things all at once. So like, sure, if you want to replace me saying your dog doesn't know down, they just understand all of the help that you're giving, with my dog doesn't understand the hand signal, they just understand all the help I'm giving, the same thing applies. Like the same exact fucking thing applies, right?
It's the same thing.
And it's just like, that is one of the things that's really frustrating me right now as I watch things like, you know, people commenting stuff like that, or, you know, e-collar technology. You can't see all their posts now, but dude, they are reposting the most absurd things these days. Like literally, I'm not even joking. Anybody that tries to invite them to collaborate on a post, they accept every one of them. There's like 15 new posts a day that go up on their page. And it's all from these like nobody trainers, because like the only trainers that would try to collaborate with e-collar technologies are the ones that have no followers and are trying to get followers through e-collar tech's page, right? But every one of them is like shit like that, and them like talking about how like, oh, well, this is the new way to condition in a fucking down, and this is a new way to make sure your dog understands recall. And look at, we're practicing. This is another one that I saw today. Watch me practice my silent recalls, right? And all it is a video of their e-collar remote, and they just go click, and the dog turns and comes back to them, and then click, and then the dog turns and comes back to them. It's like, how about instead of practicing our silent recalls, we practice the word that the people are hiring us for?
Let's show them what a good recall is. Like, let's show me how you start it.
How about we just make sure the dog understands come, and we don't focus on all of these other things? Because a silent recall, or my vibrate recall, or my tone recall, like none of, like, how about we just focus on the word? I don't know. Instead of overcomplicating this, and like trainers will do whatever they can to work on everything except for the things that the clients hired them for. Like, I'm convinced they will do whatever they can to practice literally everything except the things that the clients hired them for.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I have to show off to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you don't, I have been on a roll lately where I want people to be technically good dog trainers. Be a technician. That's how you train a dog well, is to be a technician. Like, to start a recall with food, move into leash, move into remote collar. Tell me how you do it. Explain to me how you do it. Let's do it with some passion. Let's do it with some nuance. Let me see a dog that understands it. Don't, like, I fucking silent recall. I've never had a client in 13 years be like, hey, can you give me a silent recall? Like, no. I mean, yes, but come. No, I won't.
Just say come. I don't know.
I'll just say come, and then your dog will come to you, and then all your problems will go away. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I just train dogs.
Yeah. I think the other one we were talking about on the silent recall one was like somebody. Remember the post with the wiener dog? We talked about this like a couple episodes ago. It was another e-collar technology repost. And it was the same deal where they were like, this dog wouldn't listen to recall at all until we trained the vibrate recall. And it was like the same thing. It's the same thing as like, oh, don't use yes or a clicker, use or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, well, in order for them to understand the vibrate recall, you still have to train that cue, right? Like, so you could have spent the time just training the come cue or the here cue or whatever one you wanted to know. It doesn't make a difference.
No.
Doesn't make a difference. But then it's like this gimmick that clients will look at and be like, oh shit. Like I know before I started training dogs, I remember when I got Vera initially, before I was like working with trainers and stuff, I was like, oh, like, yeah, she doesn't listen to come. Maybe I need to go buy one of those fucking dog whistles or something. You know what I mean? That everybody talks about, like, this is how you do it. Because you see people talk about, oh, yeah, don't use your verbal recall. Use the dog whistle. Like, it's just going to be this thing that trains the dog out of the box to do a good recall. And it's just not, it's literally just not the case. You still have to teach
the dog
it, no matter
knows
what it is.
what that sound means.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the dog knows what the sound come means.
Yeah.
Because I taught it.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
My blood pressure is going to go through the fucking roof after this, and I am excited.
Yeah. All right, hit me with another one. You got another one?
All right, yeah, I got a list.
All right, keep them coming.
Oh yeah, dude, I got a list because I need to make reels, right?
Yeah, for sure.
This was so I was listening to actually a training with the TWC podcast, the one with Dr. Stephanie Cote, Stuart Hilliard, and Michael Ellis. And
the
it was
panel.
Like their,
yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. There was a really good one, but someone came up on social media and was fucking giving me the shit about that dogs need to consent to training and be a willing participant.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
typical that.
I didn't even know where to begin with that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, the consent thing is tough. Like I like people act like dogs are just like dogs are different than people like to equate it to like kids. Like you let your kid kind of consent to certain things sometimes, right? As they're older, maybe sometimes, but not when they're younger. But it's like dogs, people forget dogs are essentially our slaves. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. You know what I mean? Like they are like what? Like if you really break it down, okay, instead of saying that, we could say they are prisoners in our home, right? Like, and the only reason why they learn to like being in our home is because of Stockholm Syndrome, right? Like they start to learn that like, wow, this is the person that feeds me and we go do fun things and stuff. But still, in the end of the day, whether the dog knows it or not, you can never leave.
Yeah.
Right? You are a prisoner in our house. Yeah. Right? So because of that, right, we can look out for their best interests, but like, and this is my whole problem with we'll get into the crating thing in a second here. This is my whole problem with the crating thing.
Oh
yeah. We can't just let them consent to things because in order to do that, we would have to have them consent to being prisoners of our home. Right? Of us owning them forever, right? Of us never opening the door and just being like, well, if you want to leave, you can. But like, I hope you stay here. But if you want to leave, you can. Like no owner will ever do that because they can't consent to things, right? We don't give them the ability to consent to things. So like, it blows my mind, like with the crate thing, when people like bitch and complain, because there's been some times we've been attacked by like the anti-craters, right? Where they come on our page and they talk about, oh yeah, it's because you keep the dog in a box, you know, and then how about you go fucking live in your bathroom for 4 years and see how you like it and this and that, blah, 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 right? And I always say, it's like, okay, my response 100% of the time is what is the appropriate amount of square footage to confine your dog into then? Because if you're not leaving your dog in a crate, you're leaving your dog in a 6x6 kennel. And if you're not leaving your dog in a 6x6 kennel, you're leaving your dog in a 20x20 room. And if you're not leaving your dog in a 20x20 room, you're leaving your dog in a 2,500 square foot house, right? And if you're not doing that, you're confining your dog to a half-acre backyard, right? It's like, and you could just like slowly stretch it out till what is the exact amount of square footage where it no longer becomes we're trapping a dog in a box.
Right.
Though we're still trapping our dog in a box, just a slightly bigger box, because, as I said, they are still ultimately prisoners to our home. So that's my shtick on it.
Yo, you're going to give your dog 2,500 square feet for your dog to lay in the dog bed that it chooses to lay in the same 4 square foot area that it does all goddamn day.
Yeah.
Right. Like, do you consent to going to the vet? Like, dude, you're bleeding. I got to take you to the vet. I don't really give a fuck. I don't care. You're bleeding. I got to save you. You can't do that.
Yep.
And sure, you know, before I leave, I look at all my dogs and I said, don't forget, you got to fucking love me.
Yeah.
You have zero choice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm throwing your ass out on the street.
It's true.
Like, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
I can't. Let's go into that reverse perception because now I've been thinking about it because
okay.
I still get to that all the time and it still haunts my dreams.
Okay, so here is how about this? I will play. Let's see if I can. Let's see if I could steel man this one enough, and then if you could poke holes in the steel man, right? So I think my biggest complaint with it was the fact that I think with most of the dogs that we're doing this with, one of two things can happen. One, like if you just give it 24 hours, you won't need to do that. The dog won't be petrified of you so much, right? And if they do need something like, hey, a little bit of force to get them to do it, I think the marketing of it is that the immediate reverse perception of pressure turns off next to you. So I immediately correlate you with like this positive thing is like, that doesn't feel accurate to me, because like, if anything, like I pressure a dog to get to me, I turn pressure off, dog is next to me, dog is still scared as shit of me, but over time they will start to learn that being next to me isn't that bad, right? So I guess my steel man for it would be though that it's similar to what we do with other hurdles with dogs. Like I use the example of like a dog that doesn't want to jump in the car, a dog doesn't want to go downstairs, a dog that, freezes up on tile floor, et cetera, et cetera. Most of the time with those dogs, sure, you could try a little counter conditioning with food and stuff, but most of the time with those dogs, what we do is we just quickly work them through it and show them, hey, you got to go down the stairs. And they go down the stairs and they're like, okay, it wasn't that scary, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess my question for you would be, what is different about this than that? And what is, I guess that's my perspective on it. There are a lot of dogs with massive fear issues that you have to resort to just physically working them through the thing that they're scared of. And then they learn as they do it a couple times that perceived scary thing isn't actually that scary.
Right. That I'm 100% in agreement with you there. That is exactly what we do.
Yes.
Often with scared dogs. Why are we going to pressure the dog? Why are we going to force Stockholm syndrome on this dog to be close to me? Right? Like, why do I need to create a shitty situation for the dog 6 feet away from me to move into me when the dog is very clearly uncomfortable with my presence? Why am I showing the dog that, hey, there's actually things out there that suck even more than me, right?
This is a fair point, right? Like it is this idea of, instead of like raising the bar of like our value to the dog, like we are just showing them like, hey, there's worse things than me. And I guess this is kind of my issue with it, that I had a hard time breaking that. That is a really good way of putting it, because in my mind, I really was like, as we were talking it out loud on the episode last week, I was like, actually, do I disagree with this that much? But what I was getting hung up on with it was the e-collar use with it. Not that I have a problem with e-collar use, but it feels like what is like in my examples I used of like walking a dog up and down stairs that don't want to do it, right? I'm just going to use the leash for it. And it is more of this like physical, just like I'm taking away your option of doing anything other than this, right? Not because I'm adding more aversiveness, but like you physically can't do anything other than go down the stairs, right? In the example of the reverse perception with the e-collar, it is not that, because if it was that, we would just use the leash and just like leash pressure little by little the dog all the way to us. But in this case, what we're doing is we're actually, like you said, increasing the suck of not listening until the dog chooses to come to you, right? Because that thing sucks so much. So I guess that does make sense to me a little bit.
So and that it's like with when we're working through like fearful dogs, like we had a wolf dog hybrid come in a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I had this dog on a 20-foot leash, and I was just sitting in the yard with it. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to explain to my employees. They were like, "Why are you forcing him to come into you when he wants to get away from you?" And I said, "I'm not forcing him to come into me. I'm just not letting him retreat." Mm-hmm. Right? There's a very big difference there. Right? You show the dog, hey, yeah, I have
taken away the option of you can't do anything else aside from start to come closer to me on your own. Yeah.
And listen, you're 20 feet away, man. If you don't want to get any closer, sweet. I'm just not going to let you get 25 feet away. Yeah. Because when I show you that 20 feet away doesn't suck, you're going to go, all right, maybe 15 feet doesn't suck. All right, maybe 10 feet doesn't suck. All of a sudden, the dog's next to you. And I haven't pressured the dog to physically come closer to me. I haven't shown him that, hey, that side of the yard is way less scary than me. It's the same thing, brother. Plus, if you come closer to me, you might get some food. But there's in my brain, there's no reason to put pressure on a dog to be like, hey man, it sucks over there, so come closer to me. I suck less. It's like, dude, I'm fucking awesome. I provide food, water, shelter, and some of the best butt scratches you'll ever get in your life. Dude, I'll kiss you on the lips. I don't give a fuck. I'll make you feel good. But to make the dog know that it sucks over there, why? Why?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I have any counterpoints to that.
But also, what does the dog know about e-collar at this point?
Yeah.
Nothing. So,
yeah.
okay, like maybe just take your time. Like that's why board and train programs are long.
Yeah.
Sometimes dogs take a week to comfortable, and like I'd rather, yeah, we're gonna work you through some shit, brother. But like, I don't need to be affectionate with a dog to get him through some shit.
Yeah, this is where it does feel like there's not like I guess what he's doing in that moment, or what anybody that's doing that is not like, it is not,
It's not inherently bad.
it's not wrong from like a
Yeah.
scientific principle standpoint, meaning like if you want to use negative reinforcement with an e-collar with a fearful dog to train a recall, right? That's what you're doing there, right? And that will
Yeah.
absolutely 100% work. So this is where like I don't like I generally don't like getting into like the philosophical debates of like, oh, well, like there's a better way, or you should do it a different way, as long as everybody's doing it, whatever their method is, correctly. You know what I mean? But this does feel like
Right.
the one place where that is like the emotional hang up on it is like,
Yeah.
do we need to pressure that at this point in the sequence, right? Like, or at this point in the training process, like, can we just, as you mentioned, like maybe just take a little bit more time and let the dog loosen up, and then maybe fight that battle later on if we need to, but like not right off the rip create this like really negative association overall with just like being out working, right? And sure, that maybe they realize that you're the off spot, but like the amount of conflict that you create right off the rip in order to do that, in order to force that dog to come close to you within the first like 24 hours of a program, 48 hours of a program, that's where it just feels unnecessary. And it feels like there's other hurdles that you could address more so than that.
Right. Absolutely.
But I'm sure there are some circumstances, like there have been some fearful dogs that I've worked with where it's just like I can give you a couple examples of dogs that, like I mentioned, like the floor issue, like dogs that are weird about slick floors. Like we have, slick hardwood floors on their second floor of our training facility. And I could remember this one dog in particular, Dash, this mini poodle that I worked with, who super cool dog, but this dog was just so petrified of those floors. And I remember we spent, I'm not even exaggerating when I say like a week and a half or 2 weeks on trying to get him to like overcome this floor issue. And still every time we would take him up there, he would just like immediately start like Scooby-Dooing on the floor and then run and like put himself against a wall or in a corner or something like that, because he didn't want to walk on the floor. But anywhere else we worked him, he was good. Right? On the rubber floor, he was fine. Out on the pavement, he was fine. On the grass, he was fine. It was just this floor issue.
Yeah.
And I do remember I hit a point where I did need to heavily pressure a recall with this dog to get him to finally overcome walking over that floor and coming to me. But I feel like, so like I said, I could see the circumstances where I would need to do something like that to help a dog overcome a hurdle. But like, I don't want to say it's like you gave him a chance before it happened, but like you kind of gave him a chance before you hit that point where you needed to do it. And it just, I was able to manage that issue for that first week without addressing it head on, and see if I can make the progress first. I don't know.
Well, and I was arguing with myself in my head as I was listening to you, because you want to empower the dog to be like, hey man, you fucking did it.
Yeah.
You got over that fear of the floor. I didn't have to put pressure on you. I was luring you around. You were chasing food and you got over it.
Yeah.
And then, we used the remote collar to help him and pressure him with the recall. And then I was like, okay, well, he just empowered himself by turning off the pressure and plowing through that pressure to do it too.
There is a degree of that, but like there's I guess like further digging into this reverse perception thing, there's just like more to it than just the dog learns to like you because you're the safe spot. You know what I mean? Like, because in the context of like Dash, where I had to pressure that recall, in those moments of those first 3 or 4 recalls that I needed to do, where I had to put a lot of pressure on him to get him to do it, I do not believe that he overcame any fears there. right? He learned to come to me, or he learned to shut off the pressure to come to me, but I did not change any like emotional perceptions or anything over the course of those 4 reps. But the following probably 60 repetitions that I did where he did it successfully without the need of any e-collar pressure, and I was able to praise him for it, and he was able to then start building the self-confidence of like, oh, wow, I'm doing this thing that I was otherwise scared of on my own without the need of any of this pressure. That's where the learning started to take place for it. And I think that's what I said. If we add to like, okay, if you are going to do something like this with a dog, if you add to it and say like those repetitions where you're needing to use the pressure, no learning is really taking place, right? Mentally, right? No psychological learning is really taking place at that point. But all of the following repetitions where the dog is successful is where the learning takes place. I feel like I would even further have less of an issue with it.
Right. I agree with you 100%. It's it was a concept that when I first saw it, I was like, nah.
Yeah.
And then I had that like, well, maybe, nah.
Yeah.
But again, it's all time. Using pressure requires time, and it goes back to my like being a technician. Like I would rather spend the time and be technically proficient on being able to like help this dog through it without having to just resort to like, all right, homie. But again, that's where the pressure from the force-free community comes in, because you say like, yeah, check out this. This is what I did. I used this remote collar to make this dog think that I don't suck.
Yeah.
Like you just kind of proved their point.
It's just too like, it's too barbarian like, you know what I mean? Like it's too like caveman thinking, the logic behind it, right?
Yeah.
I think one thing that Ivan talks about a lot that I like, that I think kind of goes hand in hand with this conversation, is he talks about when you're using aversives as either, sorry, my phone's blowing up over here. When you're using aversives, whether like positive punishment or negative reinforcement, really like you are just opening up opportunities for the dog to then overcome their hurdles. You know what I mean? So like you use punishment, not because the punishment in and of itself is like solving all your problems. It creates inhibitions, obviously, but then it opens up opportunities for the dog to feel successful and for the dog to then overcome mental barriers that they had experienced before. Or the same with negative reinforcement, right? We use the negative reinforcement to train the dog to do something so we could open them up to doing it successfully and then overcoming those mental hurdles. And I think that looking at things from that light as well has really helped me evolve a little bit some of where I do use pressure, and helped me to kind of be a bit more mindful of what I need to like really crack down on with dogs and what I don't need to crack down with dogs, right? So I'll give you another example of something that I feel like I've maybe made an adjustment with recently in, we'll say, my send home lessons with dogs, that I think has really helped me be a little bit more strategic with my punishment, if you will. So we've recently had this like flood of like fighting dog cases in, right? So tons of like, multi-dog household aggression issues. And I will say my success rate has never been higher with those cases. Like it's insane actually, like how like I can't even think of one in the last 6 months where it like has not gone well. And I think a lot of it I've equated to, obviously, at some point, we need to address the aggression between the dogs. But what I've always historically done is I've always historically focused on, okay, let's socialize these dogs, but let's do a couple of things, right? One, let's avoid potential triggers, and let's hit a point where these dogs like just don't really, we're not putting them in this position to compete with each other so much anymore. Two, obviously, if we do see aggression, we correct the aggression. But three, I'm simultaneously having the owners... This is one I used to say all the time, right? Gain leverage with their dogs by addressing all these other things in their day-to-day, right? And I feel like a couple things would always happen with those fighting dog cases until we hit a point of success. One is the owners would tend to just subconsciously like avoid problems with the dogs. And even if they were successful, they weren't successful because the dogs really were like rehabbed of it. They were successful because the owners learned how to just manage things better, right? Thing number two is the owners then would get really hard and heavy on a lot of the little things with the dogs. Like, obedience related things, stuff like that, which would tend to like, I don't want to like suppress the behavior a little bit, but it would bring them down a couple notches where same deal. They weren't kind of wanting to fight as much. And 3, we would never hit a point where we would progress past that. Where what I've started doing with a lot of these cases is, okay, let's right off the rip with these dogs. Let's be like, obviously we have obedience things we want to work on. We have behavioral issues we want to correct. But let's make our list here of like behavioral issues that are important. Thing number 1 being the dogs don't fight with each other, right? And let's make that
number 1
for the first week that these dogs are home, the single and only thing that we punish for in this first week here, right? And then all the other stuff that we work on with the dogs, behaviorally, we'll get to those later, obviously, if we have to correct like jumping or getting into things or whatever it may be. And obedience stuff, let's work those in a really non-confrontational manner with the dogs. So we're not really using any punishment or negative reinforcement in order to enforce those things then at that point. And 4, let's make sure that we're no longer avoiding some of these triggers. So like if petting the dogs has historically been a problem, we are going to, in the send home process, work on giving affection to both of these dogs. And, you know, if treats is a problem, we're going to hand out treats to the dogs and see if that turns into a problem. And basically, we're going to put these dogs in a position where if there is going to be a problem with anything from an aggression standpoint, we're going to be able to catch it over the course of the first week. We're going to be firm with the punishment, obviously, for that. But everything else, we're going to allow the dogs to then recover and open back up and like learn to have fun around each other again. And like almost every one of these cases that we've worked with, like I said, over the last like 6 months or so, what's happened is in the send home lesson, usually we'll see 1 or 2 instances of aggression. We'll be able to punish both of those situations of aggression. And then we could spend the entire rest of the lesson getting the dogs to just like have fun around each other and learn that they can, in fact, like have an enjoyable time where they're not just like locked on bed stays next to each other, or we're like, you know, only petting one dog when the other is in the other room or things like that. And like I said, it's been insane the amount of like progress we've been able to see because we are being so specific about the single thing that we are looking to correct for that dog, right? Like literally everything is on the table for you right now except one single thing. So I run zero risk of them associating that correction with anything other than the one thing that we care about. I'll be honest, I don't remember how that whole rant that I just went on started and what we were talking about right before that, but I'll leave that on that as far as my little tangent on what we've been doing with fighting dogs.
I mean, I'm about that. That's really interesting to just only punish for that. Because so like that's the wave that you're getting right now. The wave I'm getting is dogs biting people.
Oh, sure.
Not dogs fighting in the house. Yeah. And that's the same thing, right? We're gonna like we're addressing only that now. Yeah. That's what we're addressing right now. Anything else, I don't give a shit. But you do not do that. Yeah. And that is what we will be addressing. And it's a very interesting way to just attack a problem because you're isolating only that behavior. Yeah. But it's such a commonplace behavior. And usually, you know, with owners, it really depends on what they're doing that creates that conflict. Yeah. I think the most recent one we had was the owner showing affection. Yeah. They had they had Nikita, and every time they would hug each other, the dog would just jump in between them and start fucking getting wild and biting on people. Yeah. And I mean, I don't think these two people hugged each other more than the hour they were taking their dog home. Because same thing. But that's cool to do it with that.
I think that what was I going to say with that? So you mentioned something a second ago. You said, you know, you got to look at like what might the owner be doing to create the conflict. I think the difference in what I used to do in this is like I still then do switch to like, okay, now let's look at the things you were doing that was creating this problem and let's solve those things so that we could reduce some of the conflict. But I guess where my mentality has shifted is I used to do that backwards, right? I used to be like, okay, fix the owner problem, then punish the issue. I think the reason why I'm liking doing it the other way around now at this point is because there still has to be this threshold of if I bear hug both of my dogs next to each other because I get home from work and I'm happy to see them, that like you still can't fight each other, right? Even though that's something, maybe you shouldn't do that as much with your dog, right? let's address that. You still learn you can't fight each other in that circumstance. Or if I hand treats out to you and you're a little too close to each other, right? Like, okay, let's have a little bit more structure to how we're handing treats out, obviously. But like, you still can't fight each other in that situation, right? So I'm basically addressing it at like max threshold first and foremost, right? Where it's like, this is as challenging of a scenario it's going to get, and I need you to be able to keep yourself under control in this situation. Right. And then once I've got that feedback where I know they can keep themselves under control in that situation, we then just make it easier for you after that. So that if it spikes back up accidentally, you know, you're out at the bar all day and you come home and you're you know, intoxicated and, you know, do stupid shit with your dog and you're not listening to what your dog trainer told you to do, at least we have that inhibition that we've created at that level to reduce the probability that issue is going to happen. True. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of been my mentality.
Picks up the slack.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that's been our thing lately. Is like we want to do such a good job that your dog will pick up the slack because inevitably you're gonna fuck up.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's cool. I like that. It's similar to the way, like, I mean, a long time ago, I was talking to Jeff Gelman he was talking about dealing with dog aggression.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, man. He's like, I let the dogs come in day one. First thing they come in, I put them on a log line. I put a dog on the opposite side of the fence, and I say, "Go for it."
Yeah.
And then I just let them know, and I was like,
"Yeah,
that's a way."
Yeah. It's just, you know, it's there's caveats to all of this, right? Like, because like there is some like groundwork you want to put in place for some of this kind of stuff, and it's like, you know, in like a lot of the fighting dog cases, like sure there might be, before we start putting them back with each other, some behavioral issues you could chip away at individually with them and stuff like that. But I just am a believer that with like a lot of this kind of stuff these days, if we could just be more efficient with our use of punishment, right? And instead of trying to use our punishment and our negative reinforcement and all of these things on like 8 million things at once, right? Like, and instead just literally pick one thing at a time to work it with. I think that most of the issues that you hear people talk about where the punishment didn't work or the dog developed, you know, superstitious associations, or like a lot of those problems, I think, get pretty alleviated because it's so easy for the dog to connect the dots of what they're getting corrected for. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that's just been a really big thing that I focused on. And I think I remember where I was tying this into is we were talking about, you know, with Sean or like any of these other guys, everything is so e-collar heavy everywhere that the dog is just constantly put in this position where there's so much conflict surrounding all of the things that we're asking that they eventually learn to connect the dots, but it's just such a longer road to get there. And the reason why most of these dogs are just behaving is because they're just in a state of being more suppressed, right? And because they're in a state of being more suppressed, they don't rehearse the behavioral issues. But then once they go home and they're no longer in this state of just being suppressed, because they've never connected those consequences directly to the behavioral issues at hand, they revert right back to doing those things. And I think that's why we haven't seen that problem, is because the dogs connect the dots quicker. They learn truly, in your case, don't bite people. In my case, don't fight the other dogs. Whatever behavioral issue it is, obviously. But then we give them so much time to literally just recover from it and learn, like, all of these other things are on the table, and it literally is just that thing that got me in trouble, you know?
That was part of my argument with someone the other day. Like, if you had the option, like you're allowing the dog time to recover. So my question for another trainer the other day was like, what if you had a choice between two stressors, one stress that was very predictable and that you know you can control, versus a stressor that you had no idea when it was coming or how fucking bad it was going to be, which one are you taking?
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Well, it's
100%.
The contingency conversation, right? Which is the common thing that a lot of trainers, as well as a lot of dog owners screw up when they're trying to use punishment for things, right? Is the contingency is off and the dog doesn't know what it's for. And you do create more stress and more problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The punishment must be predictable and controllable. Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing. And then the dogs become resilient. The dog goes, hey, shit, that wasn't that bad.
Yep.
And it's like, no, man. And then the dog goes, oh, I know what's going to happen next time. I can avoid this stress completely by just not doing that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. So we'll tie this back into like the TWC and Bart Balone people like feeling like they have a chip on their shoulder and like the ego behind it. It is crazy. I've said this all along when people started talking about Ivan's school, right? Like, and everybody, everybody that goes through it, they're like mind blown. They're like, oh my God, this is the greatest school I've ever been to. They're just like die hard, like TWC for life, like wear it proudly, this and that. And especially when all of the conversation was coming out with like Ivan like talking shit on like the low level e-collar trainers and like all of this kind of stuff. My whole stance all along on that was I genuinely don't think he's doing anything that different. I really think what it is just in the dog training world, there is such a lack of understanding of learning theory and of these basic principles of punishment and negative reinforcement and positive reinforcement and like contingencies and reinforcement schedules and all those types of things. I think there is such a low bar as far as people's knowledge of those types of things that to them, what Ivan is suggesting and preaching is so mind-blowing. And like, that's kind of my thing is like, I don't know, like sometimes I do, and I'm sure you as well, feel like we're like the odd man out sometimes where it's like, were we the only ones that were like taught that stuff at like a young age in dog training? Like,
no, you are 100%.
You know what I mean? Were we the only ones that actually had like mentors or watched videos and stuff that like actually cared about like the proper application of markers and reinforcement and punishment and all that kind of stuff? Like, I just don't get it.
I think of that all the time. I'm like, am I the asshole here? Like, there's no way I can be one of the only few people who had this kind of learning. And like, when you were talking about your shadow program, I'll get back to that. That's a note, shadow program.
I'm writing it down.
I got two. I got a notepad here. Look at me. I'm a pro. That was the thing with learning this stuff when Ivan's talking and preaching this stuff, and I'm just like, and everyone's like, "Do you get that?" It's like, yeah, like that's what I learned when I started training dogs. Like, yeah. I don't know if I know I was lucky to start training dogs with Tyler and Josh. And that's how I met you, was when you came down to train with Tyler.
Yeah.
But it was, and like, and when we were coming up, we didn't have access. There was probably 2 videos of Bart Balone on YouTube.
Yeah.
When we were started training dogs, and like,
yeah.
Michael Ellis was like, the power of playing tug with your dog had just come out, and it was this banger of a DVD that everyone was like, oh my God, this is such a crazy concept. And then Michael Ellis's leash skills, and I'm like, yeah, man, that's how I was taught how to use a leash. That's not how you learned it. Now people have access to like fucking kids with the fucking broccoli heads training dogs.
The broccoli heads. Who's got the broccoli head? I don't actually know.
Oh, fucking all of them, man. I don't know. There's kids that are like 22. They're like,
I don't even know what broccoli head is.
It's the
it's the haircut.
Oof.
Super curly up top.
Oh, but like super tight fade on the side.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you look like fucking broccoli, homie.
Yeah.
But and these kids are preaching. They're just, and like, oh, sorry, I'm losing my mind here. Healing, focused healing. Let me go into that real quick.
Okay.
I think I will fucking die on this hill. I have a great focused heel on my Malinois, my 12-year-old Pitty,
sure.
And I do not pressure my dogs into a focused heel or have pressured them for literally years after we've developed this. And that is because I met Forrest Mickey and I watched him and I studied him and I hung out with him and we trained, and he was like, yeah, dude, you don't need any of that. This is what you want to do. And I was like, okay, cool. And now I see people like, they've got their little, my puppy's sisters and brothers, they've got a leash and a fucking collar on, and they're just being like
the pop,
yoked
pop,
up.
Pop, pop, pop.
Yep, pop, 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 pop.
The little,
and the dog's
they
like,
say put the prong collar low on the neck and give agitation pops.
Yeah,
I hear that.
And they're
one all
like,
the time.
and the dog, what the fuck, man? Yeah. Like, did you ever guys just think of making the dog love doing that?
Yeah, and this is again getting back to what we were talking about lack of understanding of classical conditioning, like we can go in so many directions with this, but like the low level e-collar stuff, like so many of these people that are using pressure, they're just counter conditioning really low levels of pressure to be cues to the dog, where it's like, again, like like with the fucking silent recall and the tone recall and the vibrate recall and stuff like that. Like I look at this as the same thing of like, why not just train it? Like, because your tools aren't doing anything maybe necessarily aversive to the dog in that moment, they're just cueing the dog to like raise their head or this or that. Like, why not just train it like normal? Why not just train it without all of those crutches? Because you're right. Like with a focused heel, really you don't need pressure in order to teach it. Like when I trained Vinny's focused heel, like there was no pressure involved in that process, right? It's just
it was food and toys, and like, oh man, and that's like so when again being younger, and then when I remember when Bart spoke at the IACP, he very gently touched on the knee po system, and I would say everybody in that room, minus me, Tyler, and Josh, was like,
yeah.
And they were like, "Oh my god!" And they're like, "Isn't that amazing?" I was like, "Yeah, man. Like, yeah, that's how we train dogs." And they're just like, "Wait, what?" Like, yeah, you can use pressure appropriately. You can use punishment. You can be smart about it, and you can be very, very emotionally smart and caring about the punishment and the use of aversive tools.
Yeah.
So you don't. It's. And then but then the bandwagon stuff, man, that like the egos that come out of it, they're like, well, I do this. And it's like, cool, man, I've been doing that shit for 10 years. Like, got on you. Like, good on you, man. But I didn't pay $30,000 for that course either. I just picked up shit after my first job.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Shadow program. You're going to say something about that?
Shadow program. We run our shadow programs differently.
Yes.
And what's day one shadow program for you?
Dude, my shadow program it's truly a shadow program. It's not to come here and learn how to train dogs. It's not to come here and learn my full program. It is, you come for however many days, right? Usually 2 to 5 days is generally what it is. And whatever we got going that day, you shadow along with what we're doing, and you ask questions along the way, and then we sit down at the end of the day and we go over any questions you have. If there's anything in particular you want to see, we try to carve out some time where we could work on it. But it is the loosest, least structured thing ever. It really is, you are shadowing our days.
Very cool.
That's it.
Okay, cool. It's so my shadow program, the last trainer who who did a shadow program, they were like, "Oh, this is different." And I was like, "Yeah, man, because I want you to learn. You're here to learn to train dogs, right?" And I go, and they're like, "Yeah, I want to learn how to train dogs, so I want to watch you train dogs." I go, "Just watch it on Instagram. Go grab this dog and bring it out.
Yeah.
What do you know?" And then they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, no, work the dog in front of me. Like, we're just going to do some leash work. Show me what you got. Show me what you've got. And then straight up, then I'm like, okay, give me the dog. Watch me. What did you see? What difference did you see? What do you think? And they're like, you look so comfortable doing it. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course. I've been doing this a long ass time. And you didn't seem to hesitate when things went awry or anything like that. I'm like, no. And I said, why do I have you working these dogs? They're like, well, so I can learn. I'm like, yeah, so you can learn, but I'm just trying to make you understand that there are 4 billion ways to do this thing.
Yeah.
This is just the way I do it.
Yeah.
So learn. Like my shadow program, you pay to work dogs for a little bit. Usually it's just the morning. Don't get freaked out if you're interested in a shadow program. I only have you work like 2 dogs before I'm like, all right, I'm just kidding. I'm going to do the work.
Yeah.
Right. And then the same thing. But like, I want people to see straight up like, yeah, no, this is what it's like.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be different about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. I think I've always had this weird, I always, this is going to sound really, I've never like said this out loud before. I don't think so. It's going to come across probably really weird, but like, I feel like I'm like oh God, I don't know how to say this in a way that it doesn't sound like super like egotistical. I'm just going to say it. I think I'm like
I am the best.
I think I'm like the smartest, dumbest dog trainer in the world. right? Like, and here's what I mean by that. I don't actually think I'm the smartest dog trainer in the world, guys. But like, I think I have a level of knowledge of things that is probably higher than a lot of dog trainers out there. But I think that the way that I tend to do things, I do in the most like caveman way possible while still trying to follow those principles, right? And I think a lot of that stems from, you said earlier in this podcast, like there's a million dog trainers out there. We all kind of do the same thing, right? And to which I agree mostly with that statement, that there are a gazillion dog trainers out there and we are all just trying to train the dog to fucking sit down and heel and then not do bad behaviors, right? I mean, like, in the end of the day,
that's what I mean by it.
In the end of the day, that's kind of fucking it, right? Like, and I would say most of us as dog trainers can, to some extent, train the dog to sit down and heel, right, in a moderately efficient way, and kind of sort of address behavioral issues like when we have care of the dog, right? So because of that, like it has been just like my life's mission in dog training to just like continue to find ways to make things as absolutely caveman simple as possible for owners to be able to do it. And this is where we differ, but not in a bad way, not in like a you're right, I'm wrong, vice versa kind of way, but like you care a lot about, you were mentioning like your clients kind of like developing this trainer level of knowledge, right? Where like I just care that the problem gets solved kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I know you care about that also. I don't want to like make it seem like obviously there's nothing like that. But because of that, I tend to do things in a way where it's just like, it's scientifically accurate, but like I'm sure a lot of dog trainers, if they just looked at what I was doing but didn't know me and listened to the things that I was saying, they would be like, this guy is a fucking idiot, right? Like, what's it like this doesn't make sense, you know, like because you're not getting the full context of the situation, right? And I'll tie this back to, I almost forgot where I was going with this, like I did with the fighting dog case. But I'm going back to this because of the shadow program. That is why I feel like I don't feel like I'm like equipped to train people on how to train dogs, because honestly, like I know all of that kind of stuff, but I'm not practicing it in the type of way that's like a teachable kind of way. It is so on the fly. And I think the value that people get out of coming to shadow with me has nothing to do with training the dog. It's like, train the dog however you're going to fucking train the dog, however you've been training the dog. The value I think people can get out of me is following along my one-on-one sessions or my follow-up sessions or my send home lessons or my consults and learning how I'm like adjusting and navigating in real time with the client. You know what I mean? And how I'm like guiding them towards success, if you will, right? So that's why I structure my shadow program in that way. And like, honestly, there's very little like hands-on. Like if somebody really wants to learn how to do something, I'll let them get hands-on with something, right? But it really is, you know, back to how we structure our shadow program, it really is just like follow along, ask questions, and just watch the troubleshooting in real time from that capacity.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. So I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah.
But I did notice that when I was watching a lot of your lessons, and most of what I do now is teaching, like training my trainers.
Yeah.
And it's probably my background in education that I prefer to do that, because I want everybody to be, you know, again, my mission in dog training, let's make better dog trainers. Let's make trainers better. Because, there's tons of shitty training and it can be done better. But again, at the end of the day, you're going to do what you want to do and train the dog how you want to train the dog.
Yeah.
I just want my clients to know, like, hey, man, like there's a different way to do this. And we can communicate softly but firmly. And there's different ways to communicate this. I want to try that when I do a go home lesson, you know, try and be less technical about it. Not that you're not a technical dog trainer, right? Like I've seen you train dogs.
No, but
it's
just
a contrast.
Yeah, and it's tough, right? Like there's a balance to all of this. Like I tend to sometimes have to look at like, okay, like, you know, maybe I do need to like technical this a little bit more for certain things, because like sometimes you can dilute something so far that it gets too easy to like get the important stuff lost in the weeds. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. You know, I think it's a hybrid of the two.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because we just had an issue with one of my clients actually created a cue for their dog to react to other dogs.
Most do. Yeah.
Right.
Most
But it was
do.
so interesting to me that I was like, oh, wow, like you literally you made this thing happen. Big reactive mastiff.
Yep.
We don't use the vibrate feature for anything, we don't train it for anything.
Yeah.
But they started when their dog would alert to another dog in the distance,
Yeah.
puff up, start getting loading up. They'd hit the vibrate on the dog.
Yep.
Okay. So then as they got closer, the dog starts to react. Then they were just lighting him up and he started turning around and redirecting on them.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is interesting because like I know he didn't teach you that. Like you did think of like maybe you didn't think about this, but what you basically did was just say like, hey man, get ready to fucking blast off.
Dude, I know. Yes.
And
yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
classical conditioning.
Bingo.
Let's
Yeah. That's a big
and
one.
that's yeah.
Yeah. So
I got
what's your take on what is your, do you, I don't know if we've ever talked about this formally. What's your take on the whole like punishing loading and the loading sequence and all that kind of stuff?
it's really dog dependent for me, which I know, which is a shitty answer, but working with this, I have a pitty that just was adopted. We worked with this pitty for a long time. It reminded me of my dog Roland. Her name is Violet, and she was like one of those pitties that would like hear the jangling of a chain and just be like what's up, like a real pitty. And I was like, fuck yeah, I like this dog. But when you correct that dog for loading up, she just goes, oh, sweet, like more fight, let's get wild. So I'm troubleshooting this and thinking like, how do we make this a thing? Like, so I started teaching the dog tricks, right? So I started teaching those. I just taught a spin and like maybe a bow or something like that, some goofy tricks just to follow along, so that when that dog starts loading up, it can start redirecting that energy, which I hate the word energy. It can start redirecting those behaviors into something more constructive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to punish loading up because for this dog, loading up is just as gratifying as exploding.
Yeah.
So let's load up a behavior like a spin, which is fun, and it gets you food. So we started loading these behaviors, and then as the dog started hearing this stuff, it started to relax a little bit more because it was like, oh, hey, the dog means I'm going to get to do something cool like spin around or maybe weave in between your legs and engage with you.
Yeah.
Right? So we used a little bit of that Grisha Stewart bat training, distance, and then of course, hey, you explode on a dog, you get corrected because that behavior is just not a thing.
Yeah.
I think, and there are some dogs that, you could just give a quick little pop sideways when it starts loading up to just break them out of that and be like, hey, don't get there.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I think
it's dog dependent.
I think we probably see pretty aligned with it. I am really super duper not into correcting for loading. I think getting back to contingencies, this is something I won't rant on too much right now because we did most of our episode. I think our last one was kind of on this concept, but I just think it's the least clear thing possible to a dog, right? Like I use the example
very
of, like,
unclear.
when humans get like resting bitch face, right? Or humans like stare at something too long or daze off or get glazed over at something or whatever. It's like we're never even aware of the fact that we're doing it. So like you start punishing for that. It's like, again, with the softer dogs, I think you can get away with it is what I kind of describe, where again, at baseline just suppresses them down a little bit and they stop doing it. But I think those dogs have no idea what they're getting corrected for. I think they're just like, oh, I'm getting in trouble for something, so I better be on my best behavior is what it is. And then I think the ones that are tougher dogs, so this pit bull you're describing, or a lot of the Rotties we work with, or the dogs that have some of that kind of chest out, like fuck you, like fuck around and find out kind of thing. I think that those ones, all it does is create conflict and redirecting, and you never get past the issue. So for sure,
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't like correcting loading.
Yeah. Damn, I was going somewhere with that too. I need to start actually jotting notes down. I'm trying to remember what it was. Why was I saying that? Correcting loading.
We were talking about clear communication earlier.
Clear communication.
And I have a reel that I recorded today that I haven't sent out yet.
Oh, let's see it.
But
or hear it.
I'm sending you the video so you guys can watch it. I just texted it to you. And now I purposely cut off the name, but it's going to be pretty obvious based on my previous ranting and raving. But we were talking about clear communication, and one thing I stole from Josh straight up was we're taking giant pieces of complicated information and breaking them into bite-sized.
I think I saw this
like,
video
little
the other
pieces.
day.
Yeah. And clear communication, whatever the fuck you're watching right now, is the most unclear gibberish I have ever heard and posted.
Yeah.
And then to end it with follow me to train your dog better or something like that.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, so yeah, so so this video, whatever, we won't be name dropping too much here right now because I'm sure you'll post something about this. But I was watching that and I wasn't super listening to what you were saying. But my take on this whole situation. So basically, the video, what it is a trainer working with a dog, trying to get the dog to walk with them. The dog's not really walking with them because it's distracted by people behind. The trainer stops her and says, "Hey, you know, you're just kind of asking this. Your energy is all facing wrong, and like, you know, like whatever. Try to just like go when you say it, kind of thing, right?" Did I paint that picture clearly enough?
Very clearly.
Okay, so my take on this is two things, right? Like, so steel man, strong man here. There are some cases where people hesitate with their dogs way too much, right? So like I see this all the time that people say come and they'll start walking and they do this like come and then they just like wait to see is the dog going to follow me or not, right? So they're not confident in is the dog going to come with them, and because of that, it has nothing to do with your fucking energy or anything like that. Because you're like saying come and then you're taking a step and then stopping, the dog's looking at you not walking and saying, okay, well, maybe I should wait here still. So we'll have to tell people when you say come or walk or heel or whatever it is, just start walking, right? And then if the dog doesn't follow you, correct them for it, but give them a clear picture of we're moving right now, right?
Right.
And there are a lot of owners we got to do that with. The problem is this was not communicated in a clear. I think that's probably what the point they were trying to make in it, but it was not communicated very clearly, right? It was kind of like,
which is
your energy's off. You know, it's one of those. Your energy's off. Your shoulders are facing the wrong way. Yo, I could say come, and I could just start walking, and I could have my shoulders facing backwards, and it doesn't really matter. The dog should start moving with me still, right?
Right. But what you just did was communicate the entire thing very clearly by saying just walk.
Just start walking.
That
Yeah.
my
Don't hesitate. Just start walking.
Just fucking walk.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me is energy.
Yeah.
When someone's like, "Oh man, your energy is different," and it goes back to. Do you remember when Brandon Fouché was like a hot topic on
Hell
that?
yeah, I do. He's been posting a lot of stuff these days, and it's not like it used to be. Some of his old stuff I used to really like, but he ain't posting much these days. That's like worthwhile, I should say. Anyways, go ahead.
The whole energy.
Yeah.
The bringing this energy, and I'm like, yo, is your dog a fucking Ghostbuster?
Ghostbuster?
Is it like what are we reading? The fucking slime and the ooze and the energies about me and like there's when your dog pulls out a fucking machine and starts measuring my energy, I'll start talking to you about dealing with your energy.
Yeah. and
Until that time.
This was the issue with Brandon Fouché, right? Because again, like there was a lot that I took away from him at the time, right? But like all of these trainers just want to overcomplicate the things that they're saying, right? So he was talking about it's about your energy. And I think one of his big things he used to say is, we hormonally influence the dog. He used to say all the time, I hormonally influence the dog, right? And all this shit, right? But in the end of the day, once I did a business consult with him, Tyler did a business consult with him, one of our clients who was like really into dog training on a higher level did a dog training consult with him because she wanted to learn more about him at the time. And we all kind of compared notes. And in the end of the day, all it was, yo, kind of what we're talking about. Like when these dogs make mistakes, firm punishment for those mistakes, right? He just had some like quirky, unique ways of punishing these behaviors, right? But that's all it was. And then from a social standpoint, it was this concept of let the dogs be a little bit more, right? Don't constantly try to step in and micromanage the socials. Let them be, let them make mistakes, and communicate clearly when they do something that's wrong at that point. That's it. Like that is the, like you could watch the videos and see it in real time, like on his YouTube channel, but that's it. That's the premise of Brandon Fouché and his methods. And then he had all these quirky things on top of it about you can't play with the dog, you can't play tug with the dog, you gotta hormonally influence them, and e-collars don't do that, and blah, blah, blah. Like he had all these additional fluff things that he added on top of it. But in the end of the day, it was just, if you don't want your dog to do something, let them do it and punish them for it. And that's it. And don't cloud it with obedience training. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Here's a fun one for you.
All right.
You're going to love this one. Failed podcast guest. I don't know his name, but he comments on every single one of your every reel you post up.
Abandonment. Yeah, prevention or whatever.
Yeah.
Abandonment, canine prevention, something like that.
So
I don't even like talking about him because like every time I do, he gets this like itch out of it, right? But we'll talk about it.
His ears ringing right now.
Yeah.
His ears are ringing right now. My employees have access to the Instagram because they're the ones who post most of the photos and videos.
Yeah.
So that's important. So when he started calling Instagram video calling me 30 fucking times, I was like, yeah, my employees are like, what is going on? I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah. So he calls me and he's like, I will show you how fucking wrong you are. I was like, all right, man, that's cool. Like, I'm driving. Like, we'll get to this. He's like, that's why you're just ripping people off. He's like, I make more money than you. And I was like, what? I'm like, I'm not really sure what this has to do with dog training.
Yeah.
And end of the day, he goes, show me your books. And I was like, okay, here's gross income for 6 months. Now show me yours.
Yeah.
I'll never show you my books. And I was like, okay, cool. I think we're done here, bud. But anyway, unblocked him. Got him unblocked for maybe 1 day.
Yeah.
And immediately a message came through. Hey, I see you're posting again. You still ready to do this podcast so I can show you how to train dogs? And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. So then he hopped on, I can't remember his name. His Instagram is Dog Training His Passion. He's a working dog.
Maybe. Sounds
He
familiar.
does PSA training.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, really good trainer. I forget his name. Sorry. I'll fix that. I promise. But he hopped on there and this dude just lit him up and was like, hey man, if you're going to tell me you're never going to punish dogs, here's a video of you punishing a dog right now. And I was like,
yeah,
man, you done fucked up.
Dude, there's just some psychos out there. I'll give these last two like example, or I'll give one example here to kind of like just end this with like there's some fucking crazy people out there, and like don't get yourself super hung up on these things, right? So this was maybe last year. I think it was last year around Christmas time, if I'm not mistaken. There was some rando, that same deal, was like talking shit online, right? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, saying your methods suck. You don't fucking know anything, this, that, right? And like I used to always do the like, hey, listen, if you want to have a conversation about it, let's fucking talk. I said, hey, let's chat about it on the podcast. I'm always down to make some like fun, juicy content that people like the fucking Dale McCluskey interview that we did. Remember that? Hilarious. I think I'm just proud of the fact that to this day, I'm the only person that's ever done a long form interview with him. And it was absolutely hilarious. And
is he still out there?
Dude, he's still out there. Okay. He's still out there making videos.
You held it together.
I kept it together, right? I did my best with it, but whatever. I'm always down to make a podcast episode like that because I think it's interesting and it's exciting. Not interesting. I think it's not interesting or exciting. It's entertaining is what it is, right? So whatever. So this guy talking shit, I told him, hey, do a fucking podcast with me. And I was like, all right. So and this guy emailed me, right? And was like, hey, so you want to do the fucking podcast or what? I was like, yeah, sure. Thursday at this time, whatever. Same deal happened because in my signature of my email address has my phone number on it, right? And he blew up my phone like 4 times after trying to call me about who knows what. And I was in the middle of something like with my family, so I didn't answer. He called the facility like twice. And the staff was like calling me like, yo, who's this dude calling the facility, right? So the next day I get to work and I call this guy back because I'm just like curious what the hell this dude has to say, right?
Yeah.
So I call him back and I tried to record it on my phone, but something happened where I didn't accidentally hit record or something like that. So I didn't get it. I wish I did because it proceeded to be this 20-minute conversation where this guy's just like, just yelling at me like about like, you don't know, do you want to learn something from me or not? Because like you're doing it this wrong. And then I would say, I would ask him a question, and then he'd be like, just shut the fuck up. just like and just being completely unhinged, like lunatic, right? Like psycho lunatic behavior, right? Like clearly you are like a lunatic, unhinged psychopath. I don't know that, like whatever, right? I say all this to say, all these people that are commenting on your shit, if they are giving you a hard time about stuff, they're not well people, right? Like that's the bulk of the people that you're arguing with these types of things. And like, if you accept that, sometimes as a dog trainer, you can get down in the dumps about people are talking shit on your stuff. But all these force-free trainers, all these like dog activists online that are posting stuff, like those are the people that you're talking to, right? Those are the people you're talking to, is people that are just absolute freaking lunatics.
You spent your 20 grand at the Karen Pryor Academy. You got your piece of paper. Now you're the real deal.
Yeah.
Like, just, hey, here's a pro tip from a dog trainer who's been in this for a long time. Fucking chill, man.
Chill. Just chill, bro. Hey,
just chill.
Hey, just chill.
Just relax.
Yeah,
just chill. It ain't that big of a deal. Like,
no, it's really not.
It ain't that big. You don't got to come after me just because you got some letters after your name. That's cool.
Yeah.
I got my certification too. I wrote it myself.
All right, Dave, give me one thing that do you see what it looks like crazy out right now? It was like really windy a little bit ago. I know what the weather's like by you, but we're about to get nailed with some lake effect snow. Are you guys as well? Did you see that?
Yeah,
we tomorrow maybe.
Yeah, we got a winter storm warning at 7 tonight. We just had a nasty rainstorm.
Yeah, it's been raining last like 2 days, and I'm supposed to. So tomorrow's Thanksgiving for anybody that's listening to this. I smoke a turkey every year. That's what I do. So I have to be outside for 8 hours doing that. So
perfect. I
got to get myself ready for that here today at some point. But Dave, give me one of two things or both. One, your biggest like revelation you've had in the last 1 year, we'll say, or two, the biggest thing, and these could be, I guess, the same thing, the biggest thing that maybe you've changed your mind on in the dog world in the last year.
Ooh.
Revelation and or something where like you thought things were a certain way and then you changed your mind on it.
I don't want to sound like such a pessimist, but in the last year, I have had more negative experiences with people wanting me to train their dog and treat me like I'm a servant that's there to fix a problem than I am to help them create a better life for themselves and their dog.
Yeah. Well, I'm just curious to dive into that, right? Because like I would say I am an optimist in the world for the most part, and this gets me into trouble all the time, right? Because like with clients and with people and stuff like that, I always assume the best in some cases where some clients are just being assholes, right? So I'm curious to hear like when you say that, right? Like what are some, I know you mentioned like the potty training issue, but what are some situations where a client has actually maybe hired you for something and you've been like, this person wound up just kind of being a piece of shit without maybe giving direct examples? Like elaborate on that a little bit, I guess I'm asking.
I did a board and train last year with 2 small dogs, a teacup Pomeranian and a mini French Bulldog. These are the cutest fucking dogs I've ever seen. 6 weeks each. Owners never contacted me throughout the whole entire board and train to check up on the dogs. Now, listen, if your dog's with me, I'm going to respond to any message, any phone call as fast as I can. Yeah. I understand your dogs are your world. I don't want anything bad to happen to your dogs. I take the best care of them I can. However, I can't go out of my way and reach out to every client every day to update you on your dog.
No, yeah.
Let's preface it with that. Heard nothing. Go to schedule the go home. Nobody's answering the phone. Okay. Hey, finally get a phone call back. Hey, I can't make it. I'm going to send my son and his friend to pick up the dogs. Said, hey, I don't think that's a really good idea. They've been here for 6 weeks. We've done a ton of work with them. They really need some instruction, and you need to learn how to take care of them appropriately. You know how to monitor these behaviors. Yeah, I actually don't want the dogs anymore, so my son's just coming to get them, and my aunt's taking them. And I was like, I moved clients for you. I went out of my way to make the room for these dogs, and I spent 6 weeks of my life, my staff spent 6 weeks of their lives bonding with these dogs to create a lovely environment for them to not be swaddled in their own piss and shit. And this is the effort you're putting in.
Yeah.
Well, I paid you, didn't I? And
Yeah.
that was a major turning point for me. And like, I'm always gonna help. I'm always gonna help. That's my crux. I'm not the ever optimist, but I'm always the one who's gonna be like, yeah, I'll show up on a Sunday at 4 o'clock for you because that's the time we can make it work.
Yeah.
Right. I'll do that. Like I'll be there on a day off. I'll do whatever I have to do to make this work. I'll take in an extra dog because it's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's a dangerous situation. We'll take your dog in. And then well, I paid you and this still happened. Or I paid you, so, and to me that was just really disheartening and really,
I mean, that's a major asshole way of handling it from their standpoint. Question for you.
100%.
Like, not related to this because it sounds like this person's like obviously being a douche. Do you pre-schedule everything with your board and trains?
What do you mean?
Like all your lessons and updates and things like that.
I reach out the last week of the board and train.
Yeah.
I reach out and schedule them. So then everyone's got 6-7 days notice of when we can schedule that. We try to keep it all on a Sunday, like because Sundays just tend to be the easiest days to schedule things. So because most people don't work on Sundays.
Yeah.
So I do that.
You know, it's something we used to run into with our board and trains a couple of consistent issues. So issue number one was we would run into situations where there wasn't enough communication while the dog was in our care, right? And not even like it's our fault or their fault or anybody's. It's just like they wouldn't reach out, we wouldn't reach out. We'd post our updates on social media and stuff, but it's just like we wouldn't talk a whole lot. You know what I mean? And that was a problem for a couple of reasons. One, if the client had questions or concerns, it just kind of, they built up all these unnecessary ones and then unloaded them all in the send home lesson, right? And two, we didn't really get to, over the course of 4 weeks in our case, or in your case, 6 weeks, start to develop this relationship with the client. You know what I mean? So it was like the very first time I go to see them in that send home lesson, it's like, I'm seeing how well do we jive together, right? We're kind of getting used to each other on top of me needing to train you on how to train your dog. You know what I mean? And then two, we would run into a lot of issues where the send home was really hard to get scheduled because some people's lives are just really crazy, right? Because we would do something similar where we'd like a couple weeks into the program would schedule out that send home lesson. And then three, we would run into an issue where how we used to do our follow-up schedule was we would do our send home lesson and then we would do like usually a check-in a week later and then we would do a check-in a month later, right? And see where things were at. And I think that unintentionally painted this picture that like right away after the send home lesson, you're not going to need a ton of support and that the dog is just going to go home and just be great, right? So what we started adjusting is a couple of things where now whenever somebody signs up for a board and train, once they pay for their board and train, our facility manager gives them a call and they schedule 4 things. They schedule the drop-off time, obviously, where we schedule out a 30-minute chunk of time to meet with them, go over their belongings, talk with them, whatever, just say hi. We schedule we do a weekly phone call update. That's like, I don't want to say mandatory, but we schedule out a time for it. And we make the expectation that you're going to hear from us once per week to touch base on your dog's progress. And it's your opportunity to ask questions along the way. And then each week in that call, we schedule the next one, we schedule the next one, we schedule the next one. And that helped alleviate, like, we started running into this situation where, like, we were building these, we would talk to clients, you figure 4 times over 4 weeks, 15 to 20 minutes each time, right? Like that's, almost 2 hours of communication at this point between the drop off and that we've now communicated like verbally with the client and started to build this relationship. And sometimes we started noticing halfway through the program, there would be concerns, right? Nothing major, but just like, oh, I haven't seen any videos of like socialization or this or whatever. So like, are you doing it? I'm a little worried about it. And you could kind of like alleviate concerns before they fester and build up. right? And then the other thing that they schedule is they schedule the send home lesson, obviously, right away when they pay. Even if they're scheduled to start 2 months down the road, we put an exact day and time on for it. So that it's locked in on the calendar, right? There's no guesswork or anything. We know before you even drop off your dog, you're going to be good to pick up the dog, the time slot that you need, obviously. And then the last thing that we schedule is we do 3 follow-up sessions on the back end weekly for the next 3 weeks. And like I said, that has alleviated for us the issue of any confusion with time slots for things. It's alleviated the issue of making sure we have really sound communication with the client, where I could predict if there's going to be a problem. I'll know it well in advance because I've talked to them so many times, obviously. I don't have any issues with worrying if the client is going to be able to come pick up the dog because it's coordinated, right? It's already scheduled ahead of time. And by setting those 3 follow-up sessions and put them on the calendar, I am basically communicating, I do it verbally, but non-verbally, that we have to get through these follow-up sessions before your program's complete. And why that's important to me is if there's issues, they're not like, oh shit, you didn't fix my dog. They're like, oh, I still have more training I need to do before it's finished, right? And we started doing that, like I said, maybe a couple of years ago. And that has put us in a position where I don't want to say we don't have problems with board and trains at this point from any of those standpoints. Like there are some issues still that we'll run into here or there, but it has alleviated almost every one of the problems that we have historically run into from that standpoint. So I'm saying that not because I'm like, oh, fucking Dave, you're doing anything wrong or this or that. But I don't know if that's something, because those are issues we used to run into like a long time ago. And that's something that's helped me. And I don't know if that's something that might be able to help you in the future with some of those types of things.
I did absolutely write down weekly phone calls because I like that idea.
It's huge.
And then what's interesting is always the follow up thing because we offer unlimited follow up for the board and trains for your dog, for the rest of your dog's life.
Yeah.
And I don't schedule those out, but I want everybody to know, like, hey man, hey lady, hey girl, you have unlimited follow up. I don't give a shit if it's 2 years from now. I did a virtual lesson from a client I did a board and train with in my house 6 years ago. Yeah. Right? Like they moved to Arizona and they're like, hey, I have a question. Like, I know it's $150 an hour. I'm like, no, it's not. You did a board and train. You have follow-up. Yep. Like, this is what I'm here for. I want them to know that. And I haven't really done more than 2-3 follow-ups with everybody.
Yep.
You know, I see the value in scheduling follow-ups right off the bat because you can, like you said,
there's always something to work on. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I look at it. In worst case, like I had a dog recently that went home and we did the first follow-up, and truly at the first follow-up, everything was good, right? Like they were fine. There were no more needed. And they said, you know what? Like, let's just push these next 2. Like, we don't need them at that point. But then at that point, it's like, it's the client's decision. You know what I mean? They are saying, I'm so happy with the results right now that I don't need them. But the ones, you and I are, I would say, like, and Josh as well, are relatively confident people, right? So, like, if I hired somebody for something and had a problem with it, I've got no problem calling them up and being like, hey, I need help with something. Yeah. But, dude, like, honestly, look at the people that are coming to us for dog training and the issues they're having. Most of those issues are coming from this place of lack of self-confidence, which is, like, resulting in them not being able to communicate boundaries to their dog and this and that, right? So that's the majority of the people that we work with probably have a little less of that, like, go get it attitude than we would like them to have. So even if they're having issues, there's so many people that might be just a little too shy or embarrassed to reach out for that help then at that point. So having them on the calendar gives them that, like, feeling of self-confidence of like, oh, I'll have my opportunity to ask the questions still, you know, and be able to kind of get where I need them to be. And then I could kind of feel it out where it's like session 2, it's like, I could tell things are still a little off with you. So let me take the initiative to try to help you out a little bit more with this. Or like I said, you see where things really are going great and you could really end in this confident spot of like, you know, not only did the dog go home and do well in the send home, not only did they text me a week later and say things are going good, but I saw over the course of 2 weeks after that things really were in good shape. And I felt confident saying, you know what, check, we're done, you know? So that's just kind of something that I've always done. And I've really liked, that's helped our board and trains out quite a bit, I know.
That's an interesting way. That's a good way. And I'm always the first to admit, I know what I'm doing when it comes to dog training. When it comes to running a business, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I've been doing this by the seat of my pants for 8 years. Yeah. Right? Like, dude, there's so much. I mean, again, I live in New York State, so I don't know what it's like in Ohio, but if you fuck something up in New York State, they will fucking get you.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have sent me a bill for $6,000 because I didn't have unemployment insurance for 4 days because of a weird lapse.
Dude.
And they were like, "Oh, you fucked
Ohio
up, that's
doesn't play around
$6,000."
with that either, dude. Unemployment or like workers' compensation and stuff. If you go without that in Ohio, dude, they're gonna fuck you. It's not good.
And I was sitting at my desk crying.
Yeah.
And my one trainer walks in and I've got my head in my hands and she's like, "What's up?" I was like, "I'm fucking closing. I'm done." Like, and then there's the last one. I got 3 years worth of electric bills in one day. They all came in one stack of envelopes and they were like, "You owe us $5,000." I was like, "I've had auto pay on for 3 years." They're like, no one's been paying the electric bill. I was like, "Oh, super cool."
We had that happen to us at our second unit. We have 2 units in the building now. And the second unit that we have, same deal. The landlord transferred stuff but didn't do it right. So like I thought it was all getting paid. And turns out, it was about a year's worth of electric bills that needed to get paid. And I had all these fucking fines on top of it for like late payments and stuff. And I think that wound up being like almost $2,000 or something like that. So
and they're just like, "Hey, we're gonna come shut the power off." I'm like, "No, you're not."
But that's what we
There's
got.
live animals here.
We got a shut off notice is how we found out about it. So yeah.
So we found out about it because the transformer that's connected to the building blew up and the roof caught on fire.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was a phone call I got in the middle of, it was a Monday at 4 o'clock, and it was the optometrist across the street. They're like, "Hi, this is so-and-so from the optometrist. Your building's on fire. The fire department's already there." And I was like,
Oh, cool. Love it.
"Holy shit." The building didn't burn down. The
Everything
transformer
was
caught on
okay.
fire. Everything's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing was hurt except for my bank account, and I may have had a slight stroke and heart attack at the same time.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why they wait
Owning a-
years.
Yeah,
to
that's
tell
kind of
you.
Well, yeah, wait 3 years before we tell you. Like maybe like 2 months. If you would have told me after 2 months, I would have been like, "Oh," I think I was more embarrassed than anything.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my God." Yeah. I was like, "Oh God, I'm so sorry." Like it's like a $97 a month bill. It's like, I'm so sorry. Like I would have paid it had I known. Jesus.
Now we see the financial shape of the art of dog. Can't even afford his electric bill, you know?
Yeah, right? Oh my God. Prices are going up. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, I think that's a good little note to end on there. I know Josh has got to drive to fucking Indiana here after this, so.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. Family.
Yeah. Basically like
you.
Louisville, Kentucky. Like it's 6.5 hours for me.
Oh, can you do me a big favor when you're down there?
Sure.
Okay, I want you to record some people from there saying "Asi, couche, dabu, opie."
I'll ask my mom these questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can
That
you,
would be hilarious.
Mom? Can you pronounce this, please?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well,
Oh, Jesus Christ!
good sir. It's been real as always.
Always.
We'll continue doing this.
Yeah.
I think we hit our 2-hour mark, which I'm stoked on. Yeah, look at that. 2 hours, 5 minutes.
Whoa! You know what's
2 hours,
crazy?
5
I didn't even have to pee.
I know. I'm probably going to have to soon. I guzzled this thing of coffee, so
Oh, here's my magic.
Yeah, there's oh.
that's so funny. Good stuff. Well,
Oh, dude.
we'll
Thanks,
catch
man.
you next time.
As
Have
always,
a
I
good
had a blast.
Thanksgiving. We'll
Yeah.
talk to you soon.
You too.
We'll let you know when it's
Hope so.
live and go from there.